You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. Right now, though, we will continue our LSU position preview series. If you have been following along, we have, since the end of last week, been going position group by position group. There's a little bit of a primer for the coming college football season. We worked our way from quarterback through the offense, and earlier this week started defense. And today, we will finish with the back end of the defense, looking at the secondary. Oh, boy. Make sure you have a roster in your hand when you are looking at the secondary this year. Derek Stingley Jr., the number 3 pick in the draft, gone. Elias Ricks, a projected first-round draft pick, a 2-year starter. He's now at Alabama. Dwight McGlothern, who when Stingley got hurt, stepped in and started 6 games a year ago for LSU. He transferred to Arkansas. Remember Cordell Flott? He was just the best nickelback in all of college football last year. Yep, he's gone too. Even Cam Lewis, a guy who bided his time, waited his turn, and was LSU's 5th leading tackler a year ago. 55 tackles, 2.5 for loss, 1.5 sacks, 3 quarterback hurries, and a forced fumble. Hell of a year for Cam Lewis. He's gone too. Now you understand why Brian Kelly went out and added Joe Foucha and Greg Brooks and Mekhi Garner and Jarrick Bernard-Converse and Sevyn Banks, because everybody gone. They're all gone. So there's 2 pieces of this secondary. One are the transfers, and you added a lot of experience. Joe Foucha has started 34 college football games. He could be a box safety for you. Greg Brooks can play corner or safety. He's got 31 career starts. Jarrick Bernard-Converse has 47 consecutive starts at Oklahoma State, where a year ago he was all Big 12. Sevyn Banks has played in 36 games, started 15 times, and Mekhi Garner has played in 16 games in his young career that started at ULL. So you added guys with a ton of experience. Probably not the talent of the guys you lost. The 3rd pick in the draft, a projected first-rounder, Dwight McGlothern, Cordell Flott, who was a draftable player, who was the best nickel in college football. Probably not the same talent, but you certainly have experience, because you didn't necessarily have that with the guys that are returning. Except for a few. Jay Ward is back. And Jay Ward, despite having back-to-back 500 seasons where individual positive play has largely been, overshadowed by the collective poor records the last 2 years. Jay Ward started at corner as a freshman, was very good, and last year, out of necessity, moved to safety. And he started all 11 games he played in. Played 11 of the 12 games. Started all of 11 games that he played in, and was the 3rd leading tackler on the team, behind only Damone Clark and Micah Baskerville. Jay Clark was your 3rd leading tackler last year, by the way. Major Burns started the first 6 games of the season for you at safety before he was shut down due to injury. There were a lot of injuries last year. So in addition to Foucha and Brooks on the back end, you also return Ward and Burns and a couple of other guys at polar opposite ends of their career, but that could play a big role. Sage Ryan was a 5-star. He played in just 4 games with 2 starts, but that's because he battled injuries all of last year. If Sage Ryan is healthy, he could be ready, prime for a big step forward season. And Todd Harris is back for his 6th year. Todd Harris has just had an injury-plagued career at LSU, but you're talking about a guy that was on the national championship. He got hurt the national championship season, but was on that team and remembers what it's like to win at LSU and could be a great veteran presence in that secondary. A couple of other guys returning who haven't yet really had an impact. Jordan Tolles enters his 3rd year. Derek Davis and Matthew Langlois, their 2nd year at LSU. At the corner spot, Demarius McGee and Raydarius Jones have an opportunity maybe to step forward if they can beat out one of these transfers. If not, they might themselves be transferring after this season. But one of the guys I'm most interested in watching this year is LaTerrence Welch. He's a true freshman, and I don't know if he's going to step forward as a true freshman and have a big impact. But one of the things that stood out is that when Elias Ricks announced he was transferring to Alabama, Dwight McGlothern quote tweeted Elias Ricks and said, "We could have been great together." Undeterred, LaTerrence Welsh, who at the time had not yet stepped foot on LSU's campus, quote tweeted Dwight McGlothern and said, "Let's us go be great together." I love that mentality, especially in a cornerback. I don't know if a freshman from Acadiana is ready to step in year one and be a dude, but the future with LaTerrence Welsh, 6'1", 180, number 127 national overall player, I love the mindset which you need in a corner. You got to have some dog. A dude that ain't afraid to step across from the best receiver in the country and say, "I'm going to go get all up in your jock and ride you all day long." I think he's that guy. May not show it this year, but I think he will in his career. They also signed Jordan Allen, a safety from Lafayette Christian, and Jalen Davis Robinson, a 3-star, who might be a little bit more of a developmental player. With all the talent, though, turned over, perhaps the biggest loss, though, is the godfather of DBU. Corey Raymond is now in Gainesville. Not only did Corey Raymond play at LSU, but for a decade, he was the godfather of what became known as DBU. He wasn't first. Look, there were guys like LaRon Landry, Corey Webster, Travis Daniels, great defensive backs who came through this program before Corey Raymond was hired as an assistant. But the last decade where LSU has solidified that reputation and churned out first-round pick after first-round pick, that was Corey Raymond's doing. Guys came here to play for him, and they developed under him, and now he's in Gainesville. Kerry Cooks and Robert Steeples, it's their show. They'll split up the duties. Kerry Cooks, though, throughout his career, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Wisconsin, some really big stops along the way, and his secondaries have had success. One of his teams, his first go-round at Notre Dame, was a top 15 pass defense in the country. When he was at Wisconsin, they had the number 1 pass efficiency defense in the country. In one of his seasons at Oklahoma, they led the Big 12 in pass defense. That was before it got really bad at Oklahoma on the defensive side. So he's got massive shoes to fill, not only in Corey Raymond, but also in the players that you saw leave the roster this offseason. But it's why you come to LSU. Kerry Cooks, Robert Steeples have a monumental task on their hands. They got a lot of bodies. They got a lot of guys with experience. Just none of these guys have played together, and someone's going to have to step into a role they're not used to playing in. Can DBU maintain its perch among the top of college football in the secondary? We'll find out in a couple of weeks. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.